it's hard for us to believe, even reading the book, the level of how true this is. It's very difficult to grasp an entire society in which you are essentially commanded to worship a human being whom you never will meet.
But for us, he's not a human being, he's a God, right? Like, he doesn't go to the bathroom. That was a real thing for North Koreans. And I literally believe that he had the power to read my thoughts even. So I was even afraid to think.
So in North Korea, the idea then is that these are gods, you are to worship them, and life revolves around that. What is the line that you use many times in the book, that even the mice, your mother taught you that, even the mice and the birds can hear your thoughts?
So yeah, the very first thing that my mother told me when I was younger was, don't even whisper, because the birds and mice could hear me. And mice are everywhere in North Korea, and birds are everywhere. Like that. It's in a way, resembles a little bit like America right now, where people cannot trust each other because you never know who is a spy. You know, there's a bag in North Korea. I'm saying you don't even trust your own bag. There are cases where children report on their mothers, parents report on their children, and they tell us early on, you know, the most important thing that my teacher told me was, it's not your biological father. He's your real father, is your spiritual dear leader. So, you know, in North Korea, nobody is a really, so we don't have a word like friend. We don't have vocabulary friend. We have a word for comrade. When you are comrade with your classmate, that's a very different relationship. You exist to serve the revolution, right? You are not there to make friends with each other. So like that, the concept of love, liberty, human rights, or even gay don't exist. So simply, we are not allowed to know what that means.
In 1984, George Orwell's book, he writes about this.
Doublespeak.
And he writes about how certain words they're stripped of meaning, so that you can be free of lice, you can be free of, the word free is reduced to that kind of thing, but the concept of freedom is wiped out. But this is, according to both your books, literally the case in North Korea.
Yeah.
That you're not allowed to talk about anything along the lines that, well, you're not allowed to talk about almost anything, it seems to me.
Yeah, it's like the most dangerous thing that you have in your body is your tongue. If I said one wrong word, that was going to kill up to 8 generations of my family along with me. So in North Korea, the crimes, like they separate to 2 crimes. One is economic freedom, crime, and one is political crime. Economic crime is like raping child. You like murdering somebody, stealing somebody. You don't get, like, rape is not a crime in North Korea, you can do that.
Rape is not a crime?
Yeah, North Korean dictator himself has a pleasure squad. He has young girls from every elementary school get drafted to Pyongyang, and they believe that having sex with the young kids is gonna prolong their life. So like rape is an institutional thing in the country. But the real crime, the North Korean regime says, a political crime. Like in every middle of night, the officials kick the door and come into your room. And then they, the whitest cloth like this, they swipe the portraits on the edge. And if you find a little dust.
The portraits of the dictator. I read this recently, I'm not sure, I think it's at the end of your second book. But that was amazing to me. In other words, this is true, this is not just an idea, that they will come to your home, and if you have neglected the upkeep of the portrait, if they find dust on the portrait, you can be taken away for this.
You get executed. And 3 generations of your family is sent to prison camp. And this is a thing to understand. When you end up in North Korean prison camp, it's the first thing you cannot do is ask why you're there. So I met a lot of defectors who escaped later. They were sent to prison camp when they're 80 years old, till they're like 27. till this moment, they don't know why they end up there. So oftentimes, maybe their grandfather says something wrong, and then that discovered 30 years later. And that's how you end up in a prison camp. But if you ask the guard why you are there, they execute you.
They execute you.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the beginning of your life.